lovers. I am so blessed and honored to be in a position to share, tools and tips and tricks that have the potential to heal and to bring you to a place of full sexual embodiment. And one of the tools that I absolutely love and have been using for the better part of a decade are crystal yoni products, including pleasure wands and yoni eggs. And I was so excited to recently come across a brand called Wands, Wands. I met the founder here in Austin and I absolutely loved who she was. I love getting to know the people behind the products that I like to use. And I just loved her mission to really support women and men to explore, celebrate, and honor their sexuality. I felt this transmission of slow, sensual seduction in all of who she was and all that she brought to the world. So I went ahead and gave it a try. I purchased a blue quartz Emerita wand, and the Emerita wand is great because it has this like cool bulby end on it, which is designed for G-spot and cervical stimulation, but can also be used for prostate stimulation. So it's great for men and women and can even be used between partners. So I'm so honored to have built this relationship with her and to be able to offer you guys an amazing discount code. So if you use the code Leola, Leola, that will give you 15% off all products. And the website is wands.com, Wands.com. And we'll go ahead and link that in the show notes as well for you. So thank you so much for listening. And also you're welcome for the inevitable pleasure and healing and ecstasy that is coming your way with these products. Let's dive into the episode. Wow. So excited to have so many of you guys in the room today. Would love to know where y'all are tuning in from. I see some familiar faces. I see some new faces. Such a good mix. Where are we coming from? Ireland. I studied abroad in Ireland, in Limerick. San Diego, great. Spent some time in California. Pennsylvania, Victoria, good to see you. Jade, Missouri. I'm from Missouri. Aloha from Maui. Rad. South Africa. I love South Africa. I've spent a lot of time in Cape Town. I grew up in Wentzville, Jade. So like 40 minutes west of St. Louis. Yeah. Sweet. All right. I'm sure there's going to be more people kind of trickling in throughout our time together, but we do have a lot of good stuff in this workshop. So I want to get into it and get started right away so that we're able to fit it all in. So first thing, want to touch in and say that we're coming off of a full moon, and the energy of the full moon is encouraging us to celebrate like the fullness of our lives. And a big piece of this money work is being grateful for what we already have in our lives. So maybe put in the chat too something you're grateful for. I'll start off by saying I'm super grateful to have a new puppy. She's sleeping in the ether over here. Grateful to have my assistant back. My assistant had COVID and now she's back, and that's great. What are you guys grateful for? Gorgeous home, incredible community. Love that, Sophia. Love your practice. Safety. The safety of home. This moment. So beautiful. And then the full moon is also about letting go. So as the moon gets full, then it starts to wane, meaning it gets smaller and smaller. And to me, one of the most beautiful things that we can let go of are the beliefs and the patterns that no longer serve us. And a lot of those have to do with worthiness and scarcity and things that are taking away from our potential abundance, the abundance that we desire and deserve. So I'm going to be suggesting lots of different belief patterns and thoughts today. But first, I want to start by kind of just touching on like what makes me qualified to talk about this and where did I come from with money? So as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I grew up in a small town in Missouri. And to this day, the average income in the town that I grew up in is about $33,000. That's the average yearly salary. The national average is about $60K per year.
So you can see I'm already coming from a space where there's just not a lot of abundance or expansion around money. And that was, really the case for both my family and, just the people that were in my immediate circle growing up. We were often living paycheck to paycheck. My mom still to this day has a very modest job at a grocery store. My dad does have his own business, and I'm super grateful for the entrepreneurial energy that he has, instilled in me. And it was very much feast or famine. The abundance that we had was very much based on the economy. And there were times where we really didn't have a lot of money. And it was like, I was pulled out of gymnastics class because we couldn't afford it anymore, or we didn't even have like proper health insurance because he ran his own business. And so I remember like I'd have to get to like so sick before my parents would take me to the doctor because they were paying out of pocket. Didn't go to the dentist for like 10 years because we didn't have any dental insurance either. So we always had food on the table. But it was like, other than that, the quality of life that we had was very dependent on my dad's business. And that was scary at times, and it really affected our quality of life as well. And then when I kind of went off on my own in my early 20s coming out of college, I had, tens of thousands of dollars of student loan debt as well as credit card debt. And I was really just like living paycheck to paycheck in Chicago, despite the fact that I was working 3 jobs. It was like I was barely scraping by and just avoided looking at my money at all because it stressed me out so much. It was so activating for me that I just couldn't even look at it. And eventually, doesn't anyone feel that now? Like, it's like I don't even want to think about it because it just like it stresses me out, feels anxious. Yeah. I get it. I totally get it. I've totally been there. It's so crunchy. And part of this work is like, how can we make looking at the finances something fun and yummy and sexy? And that's why I'm here today in like a fun little outfit. I've got like a really beautiful rose blend tea. And it also gets to be like this challenge that's kind of like the joy of overcoming the challenge as well. So eventually, living paycheck to paycheck in Chicago, I finally had this come to Jesus moment where I was like, I have to like face this monster. And so I sat down and I looked at all of my finances. I tallied up all of my debt, and I looked at what I was paying for my rent in Chicago. And it just there was just this moment of like, I can't afford to live here. I can't afford my life here, but I also like will not move home. I will not move to the suburbs. So what do I do? And so what I ended up doing was I decided to move abroad. I decided to move to a country with a super low cost of living so that I could have both. I could have the travel and the adventure that I desired, but also have a space where my costs were lower and I could just get some financial stability. So that's what I did. I moved to Portugal. I gave myself a year to pay off my credit card debt, and I ended up doing it in 4 months. So just really like did some quantum leaping there, which is what you'll notice once you start to get like a really clear plan for your money. I find that money responds to that, and the energies of the universe respond to that. Then I began my spiritual journey. I started understanding more about money and energetics and manifestation. And from there were so many like awakenings that I had and activations around money, and too many to name right here at the beginning of this workshop. But I'm going to do my best to kind of sprinkle them in to give you guys more of a context and more real world examples. But in essence, I came to this place where I started to adopt the philosophy of do what you love and the rest will follow. And I slowly started to incorporate that into what I was doing for work as well. And I really turned a corner when I decided to pursue Tantra, which is now my career and probably why most of you guys are following me. And the interesting thing about my entry into Tantra and why I am doing this workshop is that both of them I was very resistant to. I didn't really want to do a money thing. I didn't really feel qualified. I was like, I'm not a money coach. But I would post about my money journey on social media from time to time. I would do like my little money dates and talk about what I was doing on my money dates. And I would have friends, a couple of them are here, that would encourage me, like, you should talk about this like more. You should put more of this out there. And, even had, people specifically asked just for coaching on money. And it started to become overwhelming, the amount of people that were requesting it. And it was the same with Tantra. At the beginning of my Tantra journey, I wasn't a practitioner. I was just studying for my own joy and pleasure. And so many people started to ask me about the work I was doing because they saw my transformation, that then I was really ushered into stepping into this space professionally. And my first year doing Tantra full time, my income doubled. And then I started making six figures. And then the next year it doubled again. And, that's the beautiful thing again about this philosophy of do what you love and the rest will follow. And also really paying attention to how people around you are responding to what you're doing and, who you are in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a Canva presentation. All right. Let's pop this baby up here. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the practices and the perspectives that I'm going to share with you today come from a variety of sources. In my opinion, I've culminated the best of the best in my eyes for you guys. With that being said, just like everything I share on my podcast, in my other programs, I invite you to really touch into your intuition, feel into yourself, trust yourself above me, take what works for you and leave what doesn't. You get to be your own guru. I'm just here to offer some tools and some perspectives for you to try on and see what fits, see what lands. There's also a lot here that I'll be going over that comes from different sources, and I'll do my best as well to state all those sources. And I also want to say that healing your relationship to money is a committed journey. So it goes so much bigger than today, but I'm hoping that we can plant some really good seeds for you guys. So in the past, money has meant survival to me. It has meant stress. It has felt very contractive and it's felt very elusive. And today, I've shifted into a space of believing that the more money I make, the greater my ability to make impact in the world. And I really picked this up from a coach, Jen Kennedy. She is more specifically like a money and business coach. And I signed up for one of her programs at a point where I was doing Tantra work professionally. I was making enough money, but I went through a really traumatic experience in which basically my dog went into the emergency room and I ended up with a $12,000 vet bill. And it was the first time in my life that I could actually afford something like this. I'm trying to see if I can get the chat open on here. I can be a little bit. Oops. I can't see. Anyways, I was making enough. I was no longer in debt. I had plenty to cover all my bills and was able to still splurge on like a few nice things. And I felt regulated and safe around money, but I also felt like this desire for more. And maybe there's some of you guys that are at this stage in your journey. You're like, I've got enough. I'm doing fine, but I want more. And for me, at that point, I actually felt like I was being a little bit selfish. And is anyone at that point or feel that it's like, I'm doing fine, but I kind of just like want more. And there's this part of me that feels like it's bad to want more, that I should just be grateful for where I'm at. Anyone there? No one? Okay. We'll continue. So here we go. Someone said yes. Great. And maybe this is something too, where like you'll get there eventually. Maybe you are still in that space of like, I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. I'm not even there yet. And it's a really beautiful place to be at the point where you're like, I feel good now, but I want a little bit more or a lot more. And part of that, I think, is that we see online a lot. There's lots of business coaches. I follow a lot of like women. And so there's lots of women that are like another 50K a month or like 7-figure a year. And it looks really fun. It looks so fun. But a bigger part of me at that time in my life was thinking, like, this sounds like a lot of responsibility. And I don't want that. I don't want more responsibility. I don't want to like have to work harder to make more. That doesn't sound fun. Like, I kind of just want a simple life, and making just enough feels really good. Then my dog became deathly ill, and what I thought would be like a very quick trip to the vet ended up being like 5 days of torture with my best friend hanging on by a thread. And the grief and fear was unimaginable. But one thing I didn't have to worry about was paying his vet bill. It wasn't fun to pay 12K. I didn't like it, but I also could do it. And I realized, like, even 6 months before that, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And so when he finally recovered, I had this immense gratitude. And I also came out of it with this new initiation around what money means and the opportunities that it can create. And it was like, this is my why. I want to have limitless capabilities to tap into this opportunity. If one of my friends needs help, I want to be able to help them. You know, if I'm having a health emergency, I want to be able to give myself the top quality of care. I want to be able to invest in things that are better for the world. And that's where I really got my why for taking on wealth. And it is taking on a lot more responsibility to decide that you want to make more money and be a greater, bigger stewardess of money. But it also creates a lot of freedom. And that's the freedom that I desire. So I went all in on learning how to make more income and impact. And after it, so I literally paid this 12K vet bill, and then I immediately paid for a money coach right after it. It didn't make sense for me to do that, but I knew that like that was my next activation. So that's what I decided to do. And so I invested in Jen Kennedy. She's great. And she said something along the lines of income equals impact. And that really resonated with me. And it healed my belief that making money is selfish or wrong. I started to see my desire for more money as actually a superpower, instead of it being a desire to have more, it was more about my desire to create more impact in the world, to have more freedom, to have more opportunity. So then I went on this journey of really recognizing too how intertwined money is with sexuality and Tantra. And I really worked on my relationship to money. So when I say money is my lover, what does that make you guys think of? How do you treat your lovers? You can put in the chat box. What qualities or energy do you give to your lovers or want to receive from your lovers? Gentle, sensual, respect. I love that. Kindness, attention. Yeah. All great words. So devotion, reverence, nurture. Yeah. So I've broken down 7 pillars of money lovership. So first we have respect, right? We want to treat the people that we love with respect, and we also want to be respect. And it's the same with money. Respect is a more masculine, like, superpower. In relationships, we say that the number one need for men, and this is in more of the polarity work, which isn't necessarily the topic of today, but in relationship work, it is that the masculine, his number one need is respect, and the number one need for the feminine is love and devotion. So going into that devotion, feminine, right? Another aspect of money lovership is shadow work and ancestral healing. Our relationships are our greatest mirrors and are our greatest opportunities to get clear on what parts of ourselves we're not owning and projecting into the day-to-day. So shadow work is a big piece of lovership with money as well. Understanding, we want to be understood by our lovers too, right? To feel validated, to feel seen. Choosing, money wants to be chosen. It wants to be claimed. Gratitude, that appreciation is so important as well in money lovership. And then purpose. It's my belief that every relationship we have has the purpose of helping us grow and evolve and step even deeper into our higher selves. And it's the same with money. How can money invite you into showing up bigger in the world? Money wants to have a reason for being with you as well. So we're going to break down each of these a bit deeper. So first we have respect. What does respect mean? Respect is really coming from this energy of like honoring. It's like when you think about like not respecting money, it's like just like not being responsible, right? And it's the same with our lovers. If we're out just like not giving our lovers the attention and the reverence that they deserve, they're not going to want to stay with us, or it's going to create a really unhealthy, toxic relationship, right? So what does it look like to respect money? Tracking it, being intimate with how much is coming in and what is coming out. A really common theme that I see when I work with people with money is just like, where did all my money go? Where did it go? Not really understanding like what's coming in, what's coming out every month, not watching it closely and with care. Managing your money, doing money dates. We'll talk more about money dates a little bit later in this call as well. Creating and following your budget. And when I speak about having a budget, a lot of times the energy around budget is like, oh, scarce and like that's not fun. But my invitation for when you're working with a budget is to think of your budget as channeling your money into what is most in alignment with your vision or values, rather than as something that limits you. It's like when you have a budget, it takes the energy from being kind of explosive in all of these different directions to really channeling it, fine tuning it into something that's bigger for you. So it's less about keeping things like under wraps in this contractive way and more about channeling. We respect our money as well by paying our bills with gratitude. And this is a moment too to consider, are you respecting other people's money? Do you pay bills when they're due? Do you borrow money and never pay it back? If you're not respecting other people's money, then as an energy overall, you're not respecting money. And that can be something that could be limiting you as well. So homework, there'll be little homework moments throughout this session. But if you do owe money, or if you do have bills that are overdue, your first thing you need to do is just go ahead and pay those with gratitude as well. Another masculine aspect of respect is creating new revenue streams, new ways for money to come in, and fine tuning those as well so that it becomes more passive and more of an automation as well. And this is a little bit more applicable, especially to entrepreneurs, or, picking up a side hustle or side passion that could bring you money as well. But going out and actually doing that is a sign of respect to money. And then also investing. Investing is a really big piece as well, and knowing like where and how to invest. And when I speak about investing, I'm not just talking about like investing in the stock market or investing in real estate or whatever. I feel that you are your best investment, and every purchase you make is an investment in the future you. So how are you spending your money currently? And this is like every dollar that you're spending is an investment in the future you. So this includes like the food that you're buying. The food that you're currently buying is an investment in the future you. Is it something that's like going to be an attribute to your health and wellness, or is it junk food that's going to deteriorate you? So just reframing every purchase as an investment in yourself. And then also seeing that any program or opportunity or wellness product, all of those things are also investments into you. And so when you're talking about investing, maybe it's like shifting away from the traditional view of investment, and again, seeing yourself as your best investment. Let's move on to devotion. So this is, again, more of a feminine energetics. So when we talk about like the energetics of money, or relationship with money, we often either see this like hustle culture with money, or we see this like be a match, be a magnet for money, right? And neither of them are good or bad. It's actually in Tantra about finding the balance. The tantric perspective recognizes that we have a masculine and a feminine energy within us, and that we actually want to merge them and have this sacred union. So when you're able to really balance these first two pillars of the devotion and the respect, you're finding sacred union with money, which is really beautiful. So devotion means being an energetic match for money. That looks like acting from the vibration of wealth. So it's like being the person with money before you actually have it. And this can get a little dangerous for some people. I've definitely seen some, very ungrounded folks that will go out and buy, $1,000 crystal, but they can't pay their rent, right? So this is where that like feminine energetics gets a little bit out of balance, right? But it's also like, where can you put yourself in rooms with people that have a lot of wealth and calibrate to that while making a smaller investment? Something that I like to do very often is, and especially when I didn't have so much money, now it's not such a stretch for me, but I would go to really fancy hotels and have a cup of coffee and work from there. And so I felt like I was in this vibration of wealth, having wealth around me while also making a smaller investment. Having a ritual and an altar to spend time with money. I actually have a little altar right over there. I have some orange flowers. Orange is the color of the sacral chakra. I'll be talking about how the sacral chakra relates to money in a moment. There's some money, there's some different deities, some books related to money, crystals, things like that. If you're really working on your relationship with money, my suggestion is to have an altar and spend time with it, every day at that altar, showing up for money, spending time with money. Something that we need in our, relationships to people, right? If it's a priority to us, we spend time with it. So really considering how can you spend time with money, having the money dates, sitting at the altar, etc. Another aspect of the feminine with money is money casting. Money casting is considering it's almost like spell casting for your income, but it's looking at, and this is something that you might do on a money date, would be to consider what is my energetic minimum for what I need to make in a month. The energetic minimum is often around what your expenses are. Then you look at an attainable yum amount. So an amount that's like a little bit bigger and would be a little bit possible for you. Maybe it's an amount that you've made in the past. And then you have a stretch amount, something that's like, wow, like this is such a big goal. Like I've never made that amount before. So when you set these 3 goals, it's kind of like the idea of like shoot for the moon and you'll land amongst the stars, or whatever that saying is. So when you put that stretch amount, having these 3 money goals, again, energetic minimal, an attainable yummy amount, and then a stretch, you're sending this signal to the universe that you're available for this stretch. It's like saying it out loud, claiming it. And then to take it a step further, you look at what that stretch amount and you could consider how could you get to that number? What would that look like? Maybe if you're an entrepreneur, it's creating a new offering or a new stream of income. Maybe it's like selling some things that are just around your house. And that's something that we'll go into more, in some follow-up options if you're interested in how to do that. Another feminine way of working with money is sex magic. And then also recognizing too, having this relationship with money that it doesn't save you. You don't want to treat money like a white knight. You want to treat it like a king or a queen. I know that I've definitely been in the energy of like, money is my white knight. It needs to save me. But that's not going to create a really healthy relationship with money. That's not a devotional relationship with money. That's a dependent relationship with money. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this is something that I really, really resonate with. And as I've invested in living a tantric lifestyle, my relationships have evolved and become so much more juicy and liberating. And I believe that this is something that everyone deserves. However, finding these people can be a little bit challenging at first. And so it is my mission to create more spaces for people to find individuals that are resonant with the tantric lifestyle, that are really resonant with you, the listener, the person who is investing their time into living a life that is expansive and liberating. So with that, I'm committed to creating more and more safe spaces for people to discover their desires and practice their boundaries, to connect in community, to celebrate and to grow together so that we can all step into a more authentic version of ourselves and experience truly unconditional love.
So we have Tantra retreats for men, women, couples, singles. We also have female-only retreats, just for the ladies stepping into their divine feminine. We have play parties. We have Tantra workshops, Tantra yoga, women's circles. We've got all kinds of really powerful in-person events. You can find all the details at www.talktantratome.com/events. You can also just go to talktantratome.com and click the events tab to find out about all the latest and the greatest. And if you're wanting me all to yourself, I can't blame you. I also host private retreats for both individuals and couples. Those are one-on-one. You get me all to yourself. And I'm available for private Tantra workshops and performances. And this is great for events like your birthday, or maybe a bachelorette party or a bachelor weekend. We can talk and create something that will be extra special just for you. So I cannot wait to connect with you in real life. But for now, thanks so much for your patience with this brief interruption, and let's get back to the episode.
All right, let's continue on to shadow work. For those that aren't aware, shadow work is integrating the parts of you that you're currently disowning. It's kind of like inner work. And I have a lot more offers about shadow work in podcast episodes if you're interested in going deeper on that. Shadow work is also ancestral healing. So much of our dis-ease around money comes from our parents, right? When you heal your relationship to money, you are healing your ancestry. You are breaking thousands of years of financial oppression. You are releasing ancestral scarcity, and you are also healing worthiness wounds. So when you're rewriting your money story, you are literally rewiring how your lineage relates to scarcity versus wealth consciousness. And you're empowering yourself and future generations to thrive. I want to talk about the relationship to money, sex, and religion as well. These are three things that, we're told not to talk about. And at the same time, they're three of my favorite subjects. But growing up, it was like, you do not talk about those three subjects. But what do they have in common? It's power. All three of these energies are immense generators of power. And I would argue that every adult person has the ability to tap into all three. Religion, I would say maybe sub that out for spirit or spirituality. But we all have the ability to make money, and we all have a connection to our life force or sexual energy. But we've been conditioned not to talk about these topics and even to fear them to various degrees, because these topics make people uncomfortable and they ruffle feathers and they can be quite polarizing. And it's my belief that we've been conditioned not to talk about them, because when we feel empowered in these areas of money, sex, and spirit, we become more autonomous. And when we're more autonomous, when we're in our power, we're harder to control. So what better way to control people than by making them afraid of the very energy that brought them into this world, sex, right? What better way to control people than by making it wrong to be rich, and therefore making them reliant on a system and probably perpetually poor. I mean, we basically have modern slavery today, if you really think about it, in many cases. And what better way to control people than by convincing them that God is outside of themselves and that their salvation is contingent on them following, some inane doctrines or hypocritical doctrines in many cases. So every perception that we have about money or people that have money affects our ability to receive it. So this is a moment to check in and consider, how did your family handle money? Maybe put it in the chat box. What unconscious beliefs did your family teach you about money? For me, it was like more money, more problems, which goes back to that story that I told at the beginning about like when I was at this place of safety with money and I wanted more. I was like, but more money is more problems. It's more responsibility. I don't want to have to work harder. And so I didn't. And at the end of the day, it's like, to have more money, it's not usually about working harder in the long run. It's often just recognizing that it's a bigger responsibility and it's more of a commitment than it is about working harder. Just going to scroll through and see. It's hard to keep money. Yep. Stressed about the basics, but would splurge on unnecessary things. So yeah, having this like immature relationship to money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money equals arguments. That's such a big one. My husband he's like, we will never fight about money. It's all he remembers his family fighting about and his parents fighting about is money. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff isn't for us and it doesn't have to be true. And so it's doing the shadow work to get really clear on like, what beliefs do I have and how can I rewire them? How can I create evidence of a different reality? Right? What unconscious beliefs do you hold about money? How did you learn from your environment what was possible for money making and spending? One of my favorite affirmations that I was working with as I started to do money shadow work was I am sexual and successful. There's so much story around you can't be sexy and like in your sexual power and also be successful. They just don't go together. Now I believe they obviously do, but that was a big one for me. Another one, you can't make money doing what you love. Anyone have that one? Can't make money doing what you love. Ha ha ha. So the opposite. It's so the opposite. When I was like the work that, yeah, like I'm obviously doing like work that totally lights me up now. And the more I lean into it and the more I like take out the pieces that like don't feel totally yum, the more free I feel and the more money I end up making because when I let go of a offer or a piece of work that isn't totally lighting me up, I'm creating space to do something that actually is, and I'm doing it from my joy, and then I become magnetic and more people want to come to me and work with me. So interesting. I also want to touch on money and attachment styles. So I'm pretty sure probably most people here are familiar with attachment styles. If not, there's a great book called Attached, and it's about, different ways that we might relate to our partners. And often our attachment styles are also learned in our youth. But there's, anxious attachment. And so anxious attachment to money could be just always being stressed about money, hoarding money, scared to spend anything, like fear that it's going to run out. There's not going to be any more. Avoidant is the opposite of anxious. So it's like avoiding paying bills, avoiding looking at your money, avoiding talking about money. Feels very awkward for you. And you might be a combination of both. I know I definitely have been at different points in my life. And then you have a secure attachment with money. When you're secure in your relationship to money, you're intimate with it. You know you can always make more. You know that there's enough. You trust yourself to hold it and invest it wisely. And you're not trying to hold on to it so tight and, suffocate it, nor are you negligent to it. You feel regulated and good and trusting. All right. Let's move into understanding. This one has a fun little graphic. Understanding is so liberating. It feels so good to just get it, to feel like, I understand. And that's how it feels in partnership too. When you feel understood by your partner, it feels so good. It's so validating. So I have this little image here of a human with the Kundalini chakra system and moving up his body. The Kundalini chakra system is a great tool in the Tantra space. If you haven't gone deep in it, I have an online course called Turned On by Life that really goes in depth of all the chakras, but I'm just going to be focused on the bottom two right now. I'm going to talk about the sacral root connection. So there's lots of debate over whether money lives in the root chakra or in the sacral chakra. And I'm going to make the argument that it lives in the sacral chakra. That being said, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. But the root chakra is related to our feelings of safety and security. And it's also connected to the element of earth. And why I say money doesn't live here, although it has been entangled with the root chakra, It doesn't live here, in my opinion, because everything that we need to survive is actually out in the world. It's out in the earth. The food that we need is out on our planet already. We don't need money technically to go and forage and get food. Shelter, water, all of that is already provided by the earth. It's my belief that money lives in the sacral chakra. Money is the sacral chakra, also governs pleasure, emotions, creativity. It's the energetic womb space of the body. And it's also associated with the element of water. And so all of these governings that I've spoke of, emotions, pleasure, money, they're operating on a frequency very similar to water. They're very fluid. They're very in flow. And we'll get into in a moment the circulation of money as well. But all of these energies should be engaged with as if they're water as well. If you think about it, if you go to like grab water, let's say like there's water coming out of a faucet, you try to grab it, it's not going to work, right? That's just not how water works. And you also have this frustration of like, I can't grab the water. And then you're not enjoying the flow of it moving on your skin, moving on your body. And it's the same with orgasm, pleasure, right? If you try to grasp onto the orgasm, the more elusive it comes. Emotions, if you try to push away the grief and the pain, it doesn't go away. It keeps flowing, and it's going to keep flowing until you feel it. And then something else will flow through. And it's the same with money. If you try to grab onto money and hoard it and hold it, it's just not really going to honor in that way. So money is also a means of creation. It's one way that we can interact with the world and make creative decisions based on what we're buying or what we're saving for. I find that really owning the money is in the sacral chakra feels really liberating, because it's like, oh, I actually like don't technically need money to survive. Yes, it's true that we've entangled money to become this like fabric of our society. But at the end of the day, if you decided that you wanted to go off and live from the land, you technically could. So for me, it felt really liberating to let that go, so that I could stop being so anxious about the survival element of money. Does that liberate anyone else? Do you guys feel that? Yeah. Yeah. It just releases it a little bit. I know that it's like, okay, that's a lot to unpack. And it also probably isn't going to, we're talking about it intellectually, and feeling it in your body is completely different. But it takes some of the pressure off, I think. Money is currency. Currency is current energy. Again, coming back to the energy of the present moment. Money is a way to quantify an energetic exchange in any given moment. That's it. That also, to me, feels very liberating. It is a way to quantify an energetic exchange in any given moment. It's just a quantifier. We do not have money. We circulate it. We do not own it. We're stewards of it. We're just circulating it. It's coming to us. We're putting it back out there, just like Kundalini energy. We're circulating it. It's moving through our body. It's life force. That life force doesn't necessarily belong to us. If you believe in universal oneness, the life force belongs to the universe. It belongs to all of us. And we're constantly circulating our life force with others and with our, day, like with different interactions with people. We're consuming life force, we're releasing life force, we're circulating it. And the beautiful thing about circulating insinuates it's coming back to us. We're getting something of equal value for it as well. Just like sexual energy, money is a renewable resource. When we decide we want to make money, there are an infinite number of ways we can do so. There's literally an infinite number of ways to make money. Yeah, I love David put, it's interesting how all the words around money pertain to water: cash flow, currency. So good. I didn't even think about cash flow. That's great. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Chosen. Money likes to be chosen. She likes to be claimed. Anyone else like to be claimed? I do. Feels great. I'm claimed. I got married this year. Claimed. Love it. Money also likes to be claimed. She likes to be chosen. This is kind of related to being respected in a way, but it's like, I'm going all in. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to prioritize my relationship to money, and I'm willing to take risks for it as well. Money likes for you to take calculated risks, not like I'm going to go gamble risks, just like you don't want someone gambling with your heart, right? But money does like you to take calculated risks. How hot is it when like someone just approaches you randomly on the street and gives you a compliment that's like empowering and is choosing you and is taking the risk to approach you in that way? Money is similar. Money likes that. So really feeling into investing to your edges, making investments that have almost a guarantee of returning back to you. And again, remembering that you are your best investment. I mentioned something along these lines earlier, but putting yourself in rooms where there is, lots of wealth. When I first moved to LA, I wasn't making a lot of money, and I decided though to apply for Soho House there, and I got accepted, and I was really excited. And if people aren't aware, Soho House is this like membership club. The one in West Hollywood has all these celebrities. They've got all of this great programming and ways to mingle and connect. And I thought, this is a great opportunity for me to network. I've just moved to LA. I don't know anyone. Like, I'm trying to like get my feet here. I like didn't even have a job when I moved there. So I got accepted, but Soho House is quite expensive. It's an expensive membership. So it didn't really make sense for me to be spending money on something like that. But what did I do? I like found ways to cut my expenses in other ways. So even just to get to Soho House, I didn't have a car in LA. I couldn't afford a car. So it was either the bus. Uber was too expensive. I ended up buying an $80 used bike. So I would bike this $80 used bike, which LA is all hills, guys. I was like biking from Hollywood to Soho House on this like rusty old bike. But that was my priority. That was the risk that I was willing to take to get into those rooms. I would like literally like there was like the West Hollywood house is like at the top of this building, and there's a parking garage at the bottom, and like all these celebrities would be getting out of their like fancy Lamborghinis and shit, and I would be like biking in like lock up my little bike to a pole or something. It was great. It was really great. And when I through that connection at Soho House, I ended up getting some of my first Tantra clients. I ended up getting connected to a nonprofit that was based in India that freed children from sex trafficking. And I got to go to India to help them on this project because of my skills as a writer. It was amazing. So that's the beauty of like taking risks where it's a calculated risk and you know that the investment's going to return. Choose ways to push your money edges. So upgrading your quality of life, investing in a program or a coach that feels stretchy, but you know in your bones when you tune into it that it will change your life. Also, when I was living in LA, I moved from I was in the studio apartment when I first started working in Tantra. So I would always have to like make out calls to go do the Tantra body work. And it was like exhausting and it was a lot. And at a certain point, I knew that the upgrade for me at that moment was to actually move into a bigger living space so that I could grow my business and have people come and also host events at my space. And I ended up finding a place that was like double the cost of my current living expenses at the time. And it made me go back to living month to month again, which was stressful. But as soon as I got into that new place, it invited me to up level. It invited me to expand. It stretched me. And then again, the next year was the year that my income doubled. So that's the power again of choosing ways to push your money edges. You get what you tolerate. So what number are you tolerating? Guys, my puppy is just having a little spaz out. I'm going to grab her really quick. 1 second. This is my new puppy, Anana. She's going to sit on my lap for the rest of this. Okay, so you get what you tolerate. What number are you tolerating? And do you deserve better? So very often we end up kind of plateauing into a space, or, we're again just living paycheck to paycheck and we're just used to the zero being there and it feels comfortable almost. Like that's the dance that we know is one dance and that one bracket of income. But if you're tolerating that consistently, if you're not choosing to up level, then you're going to stay there. Do you deserve better? Do you desire more? Then stop tolerating what you currently have and make a change and figure out what it's going to take for you to make a change. And it might look a little bit different than you originally thought. So feeling into that as well. All right, let's continue. Gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to scarcity. I got this from a prosperity and abundance workshop, and it just really, really landed for me. Gratitude is the antidote to scarcity. You can't be like feeling scarcity if you're just so appreciative of everything that you do have. And it's also recognizing that money is an expression of gratitude. So every time you're circulating money out, you are getting something from someone or from the world. And in that way, by giving someone your money, it's an invitation of like, I'm grateful. Here you go. This is an expression of my gratitude for what you're giving me back. So every time you're spending money, really feeling into that energy when you're paying for your groceries. Thank you, grocery bagger. Thank you to all the farmers that grew this produce. Thank you to the animals that are providing me this sustenance. Money is honoring energetically what you're being given. Another good tool as well, as you're paying for things, is to step into the vibration of thank you. There's always more where that came from. There's always more. Again, feeling into the infinite nature of money. They're literally like printing money every day. Money's not even backed up by the gold standard anymore. So there's always more money coming into the world. And another thing to consider is that abundance can come in many forms. It doesn't always come in the form of cash or a raise or a new client. How many things do you get for free that are worth money? How many things do you get for free that are worth money? And starting to pay attention to that. When do you get an upgrade on your, room or on your flight? You get free Wi-Fi on the flight, maybe. When does some free time? Great. What bonuses, what little special things, what unexpected gifts do your friends give you? I used to have a tracker for part of my money dates that I would think about all the things that I got for free in the last week. And I'd put things like, oh, I went out on a date and the dude paid. And I would write down like my half of the bill and like tack up like all of the things that I was getting for free experiences. So feeling into that as well. I think that this is also a good point to bring in this aspect of like, when you're thinking about how much money you want to make, what I recommend doing instead is think about the lifestyle that you want to live. Maybe the lifestyle that you want to live is like just living on the beach, having time, freedom, and flexibility. You don't need $1 million to live on the beach and have time, freedom, and flexibility. You really probably only need to make like 100K or something if you're going to move to Mexico and do that. So thinking about things and it's more about the energy of like the feeling rather than what it's actually going to look like in the number as well. All right. Purpose. Money likes a purpose. Money likes to help you grow and likes to make the world a better place. The more money you make, the more your ability to make impact. You don't need money to make impact. But money is one very powerful energy that has the power to make positive or negative impact. Money is a neutral energy. It's like sex. It can be used to make the world a more positive place, or it can be used to create destruction or to perpetuate evil or to escape reality in unhealthy ways. In Tantra, we say there's no good or bad or right or wrong. It's really just about intention. And a lot of things have been demonized, including money, and sex. But with the right intention, it can actually be a really expansive, beautiful, empowering energy. Money can be used to empower yourself and others and can be invested into a more equitable and loving reality. It can bring immense joy. It can bring nervous system regulation and freedom. And this is why I want more money in the hands of good people. And it's why I want to help you guys heal your relationship to money so that you can become an immaculate stewardess of money too. And what do I mean by an immaculate steward or stewardess of money? I love that as an affirmation. I'm an immaculate stewardess of money. Again, I don't own money. I'm circulating it. I'm stewarding it in the world. Every dollar that I put out into the world makes the world a better place. And sometimes that looks like, shopping for my groceries at the farmer's market and supporting, my local community, supporting, regenerative land management, supporting industries that, are treating animals well. Other times, it looks like tipping 100% at a restaurant. When I have really great service, I tip 100% on the bill. And I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't have gotten to this place of abundance, right? But it feels really good to know that I can now. Other times it looks like, paying for one of my family members to attend a self-growth workshop that I really love, that I think that they'd benefit from. And I know that he can't afford it right now, but I can, and I want that for him. It could look like donating to a stranger online who's going through a hard time, or is having health issues, or is about to become a single mother, or whatever. Being an immaculate stewardess of money could even mean something as simple as just buying a thing, a material object that's going to bring me lots of pleasure. Because when I'm in pleasure, I have a greater capacity to give. I mentioned that when I lived in LA, I didn't have a car for like the first 2 years. Eventually, I had to get a car because I didn't have to get a car. I up leveled to the point that was my stretch, that I would be able to expand and to grow with a car to be able to do more of my work. I was like renting a car every other week to see a client in Santa Barbara, or to drive up to San Francisco for a workshop or whatever. And so it was like, I get to get a car now. And I could have just gotten like a beat up, used, cheap car. But in the end, I decided to like lease a brand new convertible. And it ended up costing about the same. It's a whole bigger story. But I knew that the energy of having a convertible would feel so good for my nervous system and bring me so much pleasure that I would show up for my work appointments, like overflowing, rather than being just like annoyed about traffic in a normal car, right? It's like little things like that, like reframing your why as well. You get to dream, your biggest dream. This is a little bit of a tangent, that a lot of the things that we want in the world, whether they be material or an amount of money, we feel that we've been conditioned, or there's lots of verbiage that's just ego. That's just your ego. But ego has a purpose, and ego can be on purpose. Ego can be an ally to your purpose. And in this case, it was having a convertible brought me pleasure. It filled me up. It gave me joy, so that I showed up for my appointments radiating in that. Someone, when I was like marketing this free workshop on Instagram, someone messaged me, or like reshared one of my posts and said, gain your power, keep your power. Only then will you have power to share. Wow. Seeing it as like, if I can come to a place of financial abundance, that means that I'm empowered, I'm autonomous in my power, and I have the ability to share that power in places and with people that feel like they need it, or are in alignment with my same vision for the world. Money really creates opportunities. And this is a moment to consider, what opportunities do you want money to make possible? How can money be your ally? Why do you guys want money? What's your purpose for it? Put it in the chat box. I will say that I would like more money to, I would like more. I mean, I feel like, honestly, guys, I feel really fortunate that one of my big whys for money was to have a beautiful place that I could host. And I have one. I want an even bigger place. I want more money so that I can buy 15 acres and host bigger Tantra events and workshops and have everyone on my land and be like really contained in that energy. Krista says, care for my kids, serve others, buy land. Land is such a big one for us, isn't it? Cure addiction and PTSD and leave my kids trust funds so that they don't ever have to worry about money. Yes, healing the lineage. I love that. Feel safe and to move to Spain and travel. I bet you could do that now. You go to a place with a low cost of living in Spain. I can help you with that. Love it. Take care of family. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff, guys. And then consider like, what's your plan? How will you get that money? And could that be done in purpose too? Could the way that you make the money to create purpose also be in purpose? Just really getting clear on what's your why. When you can get really clear on what's your why for making more money, it creates a fire under your ass to make it happen. And it also is putting a really strong magnet out to the universe for why. The more money you have, the more you can circulate. So at the end of the day, having a bigger bank account is less about just having a bigger bank account. It's about the role you get to play in the world. Having a bigger bank account is about the role you get to play in the world. You just get to play bigger. And playing bigger can be done in a really purposeful, responsible, loving, heart-centered way. And that's the invitation here. Okay, so we have the 7 pillars of money leadership. How does this lovership physically manifest? How does our wealth consciousness evolve? How do we commit to this? Taking care of money is really a self-care practice. We talk a lot about doing a little at-home spa night or Netflix and chill and it's self-care and all that stuff. Yes. And self-care is also approaching the things that feel maybe a little bit crunchy, right? Like looking at our finances that we've been avoiding, or just taking time to be with money and to be in pleasure with it and to rewrite and to work on your relationship and to do the shadow work around money. So, what daily, weekly, monthly, yearly rituals can you create to be in devotion to money? Are you ready to commit to healing your relationship to money for your lineage? Are you committed to expanding your range of opportunity in the world as well as your impact? So obviously there's been a bunch of different, suggestions throughout this workshop, and it's mostly been in this intellectual space of like shifting perspective, etc. However, I do have a couple more money dates coming up to get more into like, what does this actually look like? How can I commit to this? I have a money date coming up on November 13th. And in this one, we're going to learn my exact process for executing a money date and customizing your own process based on the intentions that you have for abundance, using all 7 of those pillars of money to kind of create a ritual around being devotional to money and also respecting money. So looking at both the like, what does it look like to do a budget? What does it look like to do spell casting, money income casting? How can I get into this energy? But also like, what are my blind spots with money? Things like that. Same time, also on a Monday. And that one's just going to be really fun and expansive. So if you want to join for that one, wear something sexy or fun or beautiful and pretend like you're taking money out on a date. That's what money dates are. It's like I'm taking money out on a date. And then November 27th will be like sex magic, money magic, feeling into the law of attraction with money as well. And both of those calls will include a mastermind and a group coaching, and then recordings will be available if you can't make the live trainings. So these money dates are going to be a part of the Higher Love Club, which is my online membership. Every month in the Higher Love Club is a monthly theme inspiring soul expansion and liberation. This month, the theme is obviously money. Last month, it was shadow work. I'll share some of the other months as well here in a minute. But each month includes one live workshop and community coaching. So this call was more of like a video lesson. It was more of just like giving you guys a little bit of a download. But in the other calls, it's like community coaching, live workshop, masterminding with each other. Every month also includes a workbook with activities, course materials, home play, just things that dive deep on the monthly theme. So if you decide to join the Higher Love Club, you'll immediately get access to this month's workshop. There's also pleasure and embodiment rituals, optional book club. I've got a great book this month that like literally changed my life in so many ways. It totally healed so much of my ancestral beliefs around scarcity. And also around like I had a big pattern of judging people that had money. And the book really addresses that so perfectly. And then also as a part of the Higher Love Club, you get special pricing and first access offers for one-to-one coaching, retreats, other things. And then you also get unlimited access to past workshops and resources in our Higher Love Club vault. So when you join, you don't just get all the money stuff from this month, you also get last month and the month before that, the shadow work, the prosperity trainings, all of those things. So the past months have included pleasure and prosperity. That one's really deeply linked to the money stuff as well, but is more focused on like a bigger vision rather than just focusing specifically on money. And then conscious conflict was another recent one, shadow work. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the inner child, sacred union, self-love, and so much more. The Higher Love Club is like our church. I love that. I love you guys. I like that you're also Kelsey and Jack. You're on one Zoom account. That's so sweet. I met Kelsey and Jack at our retreat. It was so beautiful to have them there. Thanks for being there, guys. Okay. The really beautiful thing is it's only $33. So to join these next two calls, these next two money dates, it's just $33. And if you just want to be here for the money stuff, you can do the money stuff with us in the next two calls and then peace out. But there's lots of other really great stuff in there and really great stuff coming up. And if you join for the year, it's $333. You get 1 month free. And then you also get the Turned On by Life course, which I talked about a few slides ago when I talked about understanding money. The Turned On by Life course is a journey through the Kundalini chakra system. So really going into the energetics of all parts of life and being. And this is for founding members. So the Higher Love Club is still pretty new. This is the 4th month. But after this month, the founding member price goes away. It actually goes away in a week. So if you're wanting to get in at this lowest price ever, it will be $33 for you from now until you decide to leave, if and when you decide to leave, but you have to get in the next 7 days to lock that in. And then it will go up to $44 a month or $444 per year. So that is that. And I also want to offer you guys a couple of things to dive a little bit deeper with me. So the first offer that I have is one-to-one money month with me. So I have 2 spots open for one-to-one work right now. The one-to-one money month will include a 90-minute call at the beginning to start. This could also be done in person if you're close to Austin. And it includes unlimited text and voice note support through the month. That's like kind of like having a coach in your pocket. I really prefer this style of coaching. So it's not like we have a call every week, but at any given time when you're doing your money date, if you have a question, you can just send me a voice note and I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours usually. And then it will also include one call at the end of the month. And then as a special bonus, I'm including the Higher Love Club for free for a year if you decide to do this one-to-one offer. And that's a special thing just for you guys in this call. And then the second option that I have, if you want to go deeper with me one-to-one, is a business magnetism mentorship. This is usually $1,111 per month, but I'm offering it to you guys for $888 a month, but it is a 3-month minimum commitment. It includes 1 call per month. And then again, that unlimited text and voice note support. And you get 1 year of Higher Love Club included as well. That's a special bonus, not offering it to anyone else. So yeah, those are all the options to go deeper into this work. I want to thank you guys for being here, for diving deep with me on the money stuff. I have some time for some questions. If you guys have any, feel free to drop them into the chat box. Would also love to know what takeaways you guys had. What was the biggest like light bulb moment or shift? Would love to hear that as well. Sophia had asked which book. It is The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Just love being in your vibe. Thanks for shining. I feel like I talked really fast today, guys. My apologies. Hope you could all hear me good and okay. Thanks. Anyone else? Questions? Loved it. Thank you. Good, good, good. Seeing how money is not the root of all evil. Oh, it's such a good limiting belief. Yes, let's clear that. Let's release that. I would even like invite you guys, like all the money beliefs that you've heard that you no longer want to have in your system, maybe write them all down on a piece of paper and burn it and just like ritualistically let it go as well. And then as a part of the Higher Love Club, one of the activities we'll be doing this month is a money belief plan, which is a really great tool for, if you think about like, if you're going to go on a diet or if you want to like lose weight or get physically fit or whatever, you would have a meal plan, you would have a workout plan. The money belief plan is like having a plan for your brain around like how you're going to talk to yourself, how you're going to connect with yourself. Paul, yes, you can watch it again. And I'm going to put the book name in here. Hold on. Secrets of the Millionaire. Sorry, I've got puppy like worming around. Millionaire mind. Mind. Okay. Treating money as my lover. Yeah. It's like instead of avoiding money and feeling like crunchy around money, how can you embrace money? It's like when you think about it, we all have all of our relationships have beautiful aspects and also have aspects that need a little bit of extra love and support. And it's like, how can you see the crunchy parts of your relationship with money as a place for you to grow in your relationship to money? We are about to make 10 times more money than we have ever had. Fuck yes. How do we deal with the fear that we won't be able to handle it? Okay. My suggestion would be first to, as money is coming in, to have a plan for how you're going to manage it. And what it comes down to is just trusting yourself to be able to be responsible with it and to manage it well and to be in constant relationship to it. If you're constantly showing up for money and being in that vibration of showing up, that alone will probably release a lot of the fear because it's like you're present, you're ready, you're there for it. Does that make sense? Just creating evidence for yourself that you're responsible is basically what I'm saying. And then another thing I would recommend is to ground, to really focus on grounding, connecting with the earth, doing that daily. When you feel activated around money, just connect with the earth and connect back to that principle that the earth provides everything you need. And even if you totally fuck it up with money, there's more to be made and you're going to be learning along the way. And that's a part of the process. We don't own it. It circulates. We are stewards of it. Exactly. Yeah. So just think of it as like stewarding it. All you get to do is just be a good steward of it. You can't fuck it up. You're definitely going to do a lot better than a lot of other people. Most other people, maybe. Just scrolling up to see. Biggest shift, seeing money as water and sacral. I love that. That was a big one for me. All right. Any other questions? Last things? Sarah came 1 hour late. Yes, there will be a recording of the call probably ready by tomorrow, end of day. And I'll be sending it to everyone that subscribed. Yeah. Yep. Beautiful, guys. Well, thank you again for being here. I hope to see you guys in the Higher Love Club for our next calls. Again, the next one is on November 13th. I'm actually going to be in Vienna, so we'll be tuning into a nice, luxurious, fun trip. And we'll be doing a money date. We'll be going into a money date. We'll be splitting into groups as well and talking about relationship to money, masterminding. Teeny's going to be there. Carrie's going to be there. Love it. Alrighty, guys. Thank you. Love you all. I'm going to go ahead and get this puppy out to go for a potty. All right. Bye, guys.